new numbers on the liberal takeover of the party of Zohran Mamdani. CNN's data guy just confirmed that Democrats are more liberal now than at any point in modern polling history. Watch.
Look at where we are today. 59%, 3 in 5 Democrats say they are liberal. It might have used to be that the Democratic Party was almost more moderate conservative. You know, Bill Clinton, of course, DLC, the Democratic Leadership Council, no longer the case. That DLC is adios amigos. This Democratic Party is a liberal. It is a liberal party.
Dana, so you were White House press secretary around that time, working in the White House anyway. 2001, 30% of Democrats call themselves liberal. Now it's doubled.
It's interesting, that's for sure. And I was actually wanting to ask you a quick question. I mean, is that because the word progressive, they don't like it, or they do like it? And now it's all encompassed.
I think they don't like the word Democrat. I think it's not strong enough for them.
Okay.
Democrat.
Well, and also maybe people don't like the word Republican either. They prefer the word conservative. In fact, what Harry Enton didn't say is that people still consider themselves conservative or very conservative by 7% higher than liberal. So, I mean, maybe there's some silver linings in there for Republicans. Think that the interesting thing about Chuck Schumer is he laid out his targets for who the Democrats are going to try to kick out of the Senate. But he had some notable exceptions. He didn't include Texas. And I think that that was really telling because he knows that their Democratic candidates are terrible. And just the other day, we did a story about those 2 comedians that had to apologize because they said, don't give any money to Jasmine Crockett. And they got, well, I almost said a bad word.
What did you say?
They got all the sorts of stuff came down on them. And then they apologized. But the thing is that Chuck Schumer actually agrees with them. Don't give money to Jasmine Crockett or the other Democrats in that race. Ohio is a big reach. And even in Alaska, the woman who is running against Dan Sullivan, she won 1 time statewide. We were just talking about the situation with energy prices going down, the energy markets and the energy business thriving. So I feel like the Democrats are not in good shape at this moment leading into the midterms.
So, Greg, basically, Dana is pointing out that people, rank and file, can label themselves a certain way, but they have candidates that can't win a state like Ohio, which Obama carried twice, but then Trump's carried 3 times.
Dana took all my talking points.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Yes, I had all of that information right here. I hate labels, as you know.
No labels?
I don't.
No labels?
Yes, I live without a label.
Okay, handsome.
Yes,
I won't say it anymore.
Yes. Instead of asking people how they define themselves, ask them what the definition means to them. Like, what is being a liberal, right? Is a liberal someone who believes that establishing bail for a felon is racist? Is that liberal? Is allowing men who identify as women into women's bathrooms, is that enlightened? You know, is that liberal? Coming out against sex changes for kids, is that transphobic? Having a strong closed border, is that xenophobic? So you have to, you have to somehow figure out, has the woke effectively slayed liberalism? Is it now liberalism? Do they not know that yet? You know, forget the labels. Who are your leaders? You know, it's easy to have a label. It's hard to have character and have substance. And you can't look at Zohran or AOC because it's so easy for them to be elected in New York City where 8 million people just put up their hands and didn't vote. You know, nobody showed up.
Jessica, they teed it up for you. Liberal, progressive, conservative, moderate. What's the average Democrat now? What does it mean?
I don't actually think the label of it matters that much. I think it's anti-Republican. It's basically anyone who's going to show up and is going to vote blue on the side of the ticket there. And I don't think that people want to be identified as a progressive anymore. I don't know anyone in my circles who feels that way. And a few years ago, they might have. I think the summer of 2020 was a real kind of lightning rod moment where people said, I don't want to be associated with this. I believe in the fundamental values of the party, but I'm going a different way in it. And, you know, there were other surveys out this week, like the Gallup one on party ID, which was good for Democrats, and also that 45% of Americans, the highest ever recorded, are actually identifying as independent. Usually, you know, you have a few issues that push you to one side or the other, but especially young people are looking at both options and saying, I'm not really into either of these. And so you got to do a much better case.
That's your silver lining. They don't like us as much as the other people.
I mean,
Jesse,
like,
do you know a
Democrats lost some
conservative
elections.
Democrat?
You guys have been losing them.
Do you know a conservative Democrat? I know a single Democrat that's
Yeah.
pro-life,
Harold.
pro-Second Amendment.
Harold. Harold, that's
Voting
it.
for the tax
I don't
cuts.
care what they call themselves. I call them liars. Here's how they win. They get some woman that was in the military, and she gets on the debate stage, and she's like, my father was in the Union, and my mother stayed home and took care of the kids, and I'm for security and safety and affordability. So then they win, and then they start voting, and they're like, oh, yeah, snip little Johnny's testicles out. I declare war on oil and white men. I. That's your problem. You guys lie.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.